Hey, what's up, nerds? Paul here at Radio Free Hammer Hall, and today we're doing something, well, a lot different. I'm doing a hobby video. So I'm just going to kind of talk through stuff and chat with you guys while I do it and kind of work on another one of these guys. So this is my current existing Free Guild General on Griffon. So I am going to be making a new one. And with that, I've got my existing guy out here for reference. And there's a few reasons that I'm doing a new one. Number one, I would like to be able to run two. I think there's a lot of cool opportunities to run two in a list. Number two, this guy's paint job is pretty old, and I'd like to really try and make it like a display piece if I can, in addition to just being, my general or in my army. And also, this guy has previously been dropped and damaged, so you can't really tell in the video. But I've had to green stuff his little horn here and some claws, and there's some glue to glue back on pieces of wing. This guy on top has been hacked up and converted a few times. Um, you'll notice also that he's carrying a Stormcast shield rather than the normal shield that he would come with, if he even necessarily would use one. Is there even a shield on this sprue? I know it's like an option on the War Scroll, but looking at it, maybe I'm just blind. Oh, yeah, here we go. Yeah, there's like one shield option, and it's not very nice. And it is like, you can see the bit. Like, that size shield is totally not fitting, of what I want to do with it. So, what I'm definitely going to be doing is also making it with different options than the existing one. There's this like breastplate here. There's three different options for, so I'm going to be using a different one of those. And I'm going to be using a different rider. And I think I'm going to build this one with a lance as well. And this particular guy may get converted to a lance eventually too. But that's kind of down the line. I feel like the rider is like the last step of this. So maybe they'll be kind of constructed at the same time. Definitely going to be a sub-assembly. Not sure if the rest of this is really something I'm going to do in sub-assemblies or not. Maybe the breastplate comes off for sub-assembly. I'm definitely not going to glue it on the base just yet. And for sure, this rock at the bottom of the base is not going to be used in the new one because I have some ideas of what to do for a new base, and I'm not sure yet if it's going to quite work. But what I'd like to do is take a couple of Free Guild handgunner models and kind of build a trench underneath the Griffon and have a couple of handgunners in that trench firing out, and have the old Bretonian archer stakes as a little trench protection, kind of like, their version of barbed wire. So I'm just going to start clipping this bad boy out and cleaning up the sprue as I go. Now, what's unfortunate here too is that if you look at the there's another attached piece that I missed. Oh, good. I've already broken something. I think that's going to survive, I think. Maybe throw a little glue on it. But this is actually a relatively small number of pieces in this kit. I don't remember building my last Griffon. And I, for some reason, thought it was going to be way more complicated than this. So There's not even really a lot of options to sub-assemble too many things here. It's mostly just a couple of big pieces for the body, and then the wings, and then the rider. So I've got the two halves of the body already cut out. You can see just how much of the Griffon that already represents. But I'm going to have some pretty big mold lines right now, so I'm going to go back through and try and tidy that up as much as I can. And then move on to the next bit. So if I can find where I put my hobby knife. Oh, it's over here. My desk right now is totally disorganized as well. And I'm sorry that I am not currently doing this live with all of you. This is just going to be an uploaded video and me talking to myself in front of the camera. I'm doing this on my phone because, in part, I don't have a webcam. And so doing it on my laptop would require using like the built-in webcam. And that means, in part, that I would have to have my laptop at a really awkward position to do this. So that's kind of a non-starter. And I could stream from a mobile device, but I am 10 subscribers shy of Facebook letting me... I'm sorry, not Facebook, of YouTube letting me do that. Wrong, evil empire. But mold lines are terrible. You know that? I really wish there was another way to do these things. Oh, let's see, this piece is... I already screwed this up, but I had a tiny piece of the tail of the dragon on the back of the saddle that got popped off. And, well, I guess that piece is just a little bit fucked now, and it still looks okay, though. I don't know if you can see that on camera, but, I mean, that tail still actually looks fine. Without the little curly Q at the back of it. You know, it's just one of those things. It's like, it's one more thing that's going to break eventually. So I'm not too worried about it. So since I'm just sitting here and staring at the camera, talking to people, I'm just going to kind of meander and some thoughts on Freeguild Griffons, Freeguild in general, cities in general, what to do with all this crap. So I really like his command ability that gives you +1 to charge and to hit. In particular, the best use that I've found so far is to use that in the Living City to give you really good chances of getting your ambushing units to get that charge off, because they're placed 9 inches away. All of your units get... God, these mold lines suck. All of your units get +1 to charge naturally on their war scrolls. You know, you're getting an extra +1, so now you're pulling off charges on a roll of a 7. So that's really fun. I've used this to drop a unit of 6 demigriffs and a griffin behind somebody's lines, and it was a lot of fun. I don't know if it's tier 1, but whatever. Who really cares about tiers anymore anyway? Coffee is essential. The other cool thing here is that there's a lot of options for this guy's head. And there is a 2-headed option, which I think is probably going to be what I go with. Now, the 2-headed option is really supposed to be for the wizard on Griffon, but I don't think I'm ever going to use a wizard on Griffon. So that means it is open season for using that awesome double-headed bit. So I think that is what we are going to do. All right. Gotta find where I am at with all of these bits. So we've got 2 more little pieces in like the breast area of the Griffon. Where's the other one of those? There it is. You know, it always bugs me that these stupid sprues are not numbered in, like, usually not numbered in an order that makes any sense to me. Maybe it makes sense to somebody. If anybody has the secret sauce to how the numbering is organized on these stupid sprues, please let me know, because I have no clue. And it doesn't seem like there is any pattern or organization to it. All right. So more cleaning of sprue junk necessary over here. So in a few tournaments now, including a GT and a bunch of practice games, I actually used the Hammer, Holly, and Lancers battalion, which includes a Freeguild General Griffon. Freeguild General on Griffon. And the interesting thing that I came up noting out of that is that that battalion really wants you to charge with your Griffon, and at the same time, it wants your Griffon to survive. And those two things are like mutually exclusive. So I'm kind of having a hard time with how you're actually going to get this thing to be either a utility piece or an offensive piece, but apparently not both at the same time, which sucks because it's a cool model. And it's not like it's not survivable. You can easily put it on a 2-up save. Particularly in Hammer Hall, he can be on a 2-up save. But, you know, against mortal wounds and high rend, that still doesn't matter. Or just sheer weight of dice. It doesn't matter. So he's just going to go down sometimes. Well, I say sometimes. He's going to go down a lot. Because once your opponent realizes that he is like the thing that all of your demigriffs are orbiting around, it suddenly becomes a massive target. So I think this bit, well, goes down here. Is that, oh, there, is that getting in as tightly as we can? It's actually looking pretty good. So I think we're actually going to glue that in. I'm going to get my super glue. Pop this bad boy in here. Now, unfortunately, the memory on my phone is nearly full. So that means I'm not going to be able to do this for too long right now. But what I'm definitely going to do is do a bunch of these videos. And, god damn it, and struggle along with everybody else that wants to just fucking swear at their models while they're putting them together. Because sometimes it's just such a pain in the ass. And then when I get to sort of like the next like big pieces of what you do with these things, I'll kind of come back again and talk through like the next big steps of putting it together. Like, you know, basic assembly is one thing, and then you go to you know, gap filling and all of that sort of thing, and potentially building the base. Like, as I said, I have some grand designs of what to do With the base, I don't know if I'm actually going to do that. I may just do something a little bit different, but definitely want this guy to have a cool base. So he is going to have a cool base. Last time I went overboard on a cool base, I ended up ripping it apart, and that was one of my Skaven Screaming Bells. Shoot, of course I dropped a bit as well. And hopefully it has not accumulated any dust or cat hair in the process, although it probably has. Yep, that's a lot of junk and cat hair, and I need to be more careful. Okay, well that sucked. Let's see if we can just slide this bad boy in. Do we need to redo glue? Nope, he's just going to pop right in there. So one of the things that I have recently done is acquire all of the battle tomes to start really being able to talk more intelligently about all of the other books in Age of Sigmar beyond just the ones that are armies that I play. So perhaps in the future, excuse me, perhaps in the future we're going to get some content about other factions. I think it would be kind of cool to do a series that's kind of like learning how to play each faction, like at the basics, and perhaps more importantly, learning how to play against them. Because that is often really important as well. It's just all of these armies that you run up against, it's really hard to know everything about every army. So if you're armed with just enough information about what to do when you run into these things, then you've got a much better shot at a game. You know, we're not all going to own all of the battle tomes, and even sometimes, watching all of like the YouTube videos that people do on the various battle tomes can be a bit of a bear to try and do. What is this? So anyway, I just sort of lost my thought there. Yeah, it's hard to read all the battle tomes. It's hard to know all of the armies. So if you can kind of have like a quick reference guide, I think that would be cool. I'd like to be able to do that for folks. So I think that's what I'm going to try and do. I know at very least, a lot of my content is often rooted in just me wanting to know things. And so I figure if I want to know something, I might as well share it with everybody else. And so that's what I'm going to be doing with that. I want to learn more about all these other armies so I can be a better player. So there you go. I'm going to start going through all of these books, and I'll probably make some videos on them. And as a result, we all get to learn together. Isn't that nice and fun? I thought so. Because sharing is caring and all that bullshit. I apologize that I'm kind of like assembling stuff about as far away from camera as possible sometimes. But yeah, I'm not sure any of you really care that much about the visual of what I'm working on here, so I'm just putting my Griffon together and rambling while I do it. It's a good project for today. I've got nothing else really going on. Feeling a bit under the weather from a variety of things, so I can just sit and scrape mold lines and chat with you all about the wonder of Griffons. So, I'm always, one of the big things that I want to do is also give content to people that they're looking for. And sometimes it just means like a different order of doing things. So I still want to go through all of the different cities of Sigmar and do videos on all of those. If anybody's got requests for ones that they would like to see, feel free to drop those in the comments below. I will take those in as some guidance on what to do. And like, I know I've already seen requests for Greywater Fastness, which I think is a really fun one to do. I don't know how competitive a Greywater Fastness list actually is, but that said, I think that it is certainly good enough to have a lot of fun with, and you have some interesting options. And I've played it, and I certainly enjoyed it. One of the downsides of it is that it really leans into being a gunline army, and that's not always that fun for your opponents. The same thing with Hallowheart is it's basically a magic gunline, and that's not always that fun for your opponents. You spend a lot of time on your turn doing stuff that your opponent can't do anything about, so it's just you sitting there rolling dice on your own, and that's not that much fun for anybody. So despite scraping mold lines, I'm definitely getting some gaps here. So if I remember to do this, because doing videos on my cell phone does the upload crap differently on YouTube than recording something and uploading it off of a desktop or laptop computer. But I'll leave a link below, if I can remember, to Maroc Wolf's video on filling gaps and all of that, because this is definitely going to need some gap filling and cleanup once I'm done with it. So, my next question here is, what else do I actually put on now? Like, do I want to put on the breastplate? Do I want to put on the head? Do I want to put on the claws? I'm not really sure. I don't know how far down the sub-assembly rabbit hole I want to go. Well, the feet feel like a fairly safe bet, so I think I can do those. Let's hope that I don't have to think that hard about the feet. Nope, I don't. They did a good job. I don't have to think that hard about them. So the big thing that I'd really like to do with having two Griffons is running them as an Alpha Strike in a Tempest Eye list. Make one of them my general, give it the command trait to run in charge and always strike first, and get both of those Griffons into combat on turn one. Strike first with both of them, having +1 armor, which will put both of them at least onto a 2-up armor save, possibly to a 1-up armor save. Which is still effectively 2-up, but it's like 2-up immune to Rend 1. So that's pretty cool. I think that would be a lot of fun. And I like Griffons. I like how they play. I really like having strong hammer mobile sorts of units. That's why I like Griffons. That's why I like Demigriffs. I'm sure there's some other things in this army that I should get my hands on along those lines, but those are what I got for now. God damn it, I dropped a bit again. And that also just gives me the indication that I really, really need to clean up the floor in here, because I keep getting like dust and cat hair all over my models every time I drop a bit. And that is not cool at all. And I can't really banish my cat from this room because her litter is down here. So that sucks. So, as I said, I think I'm going with the double-headed Griffon for this particular build. That should be a lot of fun. I like that. All right. Well, I've just sort of babbled for a while now. While I've been doing this, as you can see, my construction process is kind of coming along, and I just wanted to do a little introduction video to this project. As I go along, I'll do some other videos and talk about where I'm at with it and give you guys some hobby tips and tricks as I go through. But as for right now, I think I'm going to sign off. I'll talk to you all later. Have a wonderful day.